I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of March 1st, 2016.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
You're next. Aye.
Change the batteries this morning, so it should be working.
Okay, today's financial include a supplemental appropriation for the hotel motel tax fund for the fourth quarter 2015 repayments of the general fund. Travel request for the clerk of courts, Department of Job and Family Services, and the recorder's office. Fourth quarter 2015 bed tax disbursements to the city of Sheridan, Burton Village, Russell Township, Bainbridge Township, and Destination Geauga Tourism Council. Payments to Junction Auto Sales for the purchase of a 2016 Dodge Durango in the amount of $26,482. And 2015 Dodge Ram 5500 chassis in the amount of $46,438 for the engineer's office. Payment to Southeastern Equipment for the purchase of the Mag tandem drum roller for the engineer's office in the amount of $31,190. Payment to Gilmore Security to replace and upgrade the fire system alarm at the Opera House in the amount of $37,521.55, and payments to Platform Cement Incorporated for the Hawksmoor Way sanitary sewer realignment project for the Department of Water Resources totaling $136,042.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Okay, while you're signing the financials, I can report on the items that I approved on March 4th, which was authorized by Resolution 16-005, as pursuant to ORC 305.30. I signed off for community development on a block grant program final performance report grant B-F-14-1AZ1 for the period of 9/1/14 through 2/29/16. Concurred with Chester Township trustees and not requesting a hearing on a liquor license requested by the Mai Tai Restaurant, LLC DBA Mai Tai, and concurred with the Chester Township trustees and not requesting a hearing on the liquor license requested by Hawthorne Partners, LLC DBA Colonial Wine and Beverage. Okay.
How you doing? Morning, Commissioners. Hi, Andy.
Four.
Four, thank you. Here to execute the resolution 1631 for vacation of name file number road, Parkman Township.
Fine, Stephanie.
Yes, I did, just for awareness, John Ferguson, trustee, spoke with him yesterday regarding the turnaround easement that was discussed, and everything is moving forward with that. We should be able to just pass that down. In one motion, do the vacation and the turnaround easement, so we're working on that paperwork right now.
Any other questions?
I don't have any.
No questions. I find that an interesting road. Probably the shortest road in Geauga County.
It's a public right of way.
That's a good labor. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute resolution number 16-0312 to order the vacation of the unnamed non-numbered road in Parkman Township, Geauga County, Ohio.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
I know.
Hey, Jessica,
Hey, good
how are
morning.
you?
Good, how are you? It's a great day outside, nice weather. So I'm here today because I just got a resignation of Frank Pertz. He's one of our transportation drivers. What he does is he drives folks out of the county to medical appointments. That's what our transportation program is at the Department on Aging. But he is retiring, actually. He just changed the wording of his letter this morning. He is retiring and will be spending more time with his family.
So,
So we're gonna add a word in motion to say retirement resignation.
retirement, okay, because I was gonna say, I mean, we probably ought to note that.
The Department on
whatever.
Aging is requesting the board accept the retirement resignation of Frank Pertz, full-time transportation driver, to be effective April 30th, 2016.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
And then we'd like to post for his position and go through the hiring process for the out-of-county transportation driver.
Department on Aging is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for the position of full-time transportation driver number 1020. This position will remain posted until filled.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier? Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Linda. Morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nice to see you today. This is just a new person that just started. Michelle Post had a previously planned vacation, and so she's asking for 3 days of unpaid leave so that she can do that.
The Archives and Records Center is requesting the board approve an unpaid leave of absence for Michelle Post for 3 days, March 24th, 25th, and 28th, 2016. This unpaid leave of absence will extend her probationary period for 3 additional weeks.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Aye.
Moving right along.
Moving on, click, click, click.
Yeah. I'm here today to get permission to advertise for the public hearing number 1. This is for projects for 2017. We did the public hearing in 2016. We're required to put any projects or any grants that we may apply for. It doesn't mean we are applying for them, but we are doing those projects or grants, but we are required to put them in just in case.
Okay.
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board grant permission to advertise to hold public hearing number 1 for the 2016 Community Development Block Grant CDBG Small Cities Program to be held on Tuesday, April 26, 2016 at 9:30 a.m. Notice of this public hearing will be advertised on April 14, 2016 and on the county website.
Make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did not forget.
All those dates are elapsed.
You're on my call
We'll
list.
just start over.
Just pick something and I'll be fine. It doesn't matter.
I'm just gonna stop out and surprise you.
Oh, okay. I'll just sit and wait. Okay, this is, I have somebody that's working as a part-time attendant. I knew at the time when she took that job that I was probably gonna move her into a cook position, but I wanted to try her out. So she's been there since December. I think she's been cooking since, unofficially of course, since about February. And it's a good fit. First time in 17 years that I've been there, that all the cooks are getting along and they both know how to cook. Which, I know that sounds stupid, but you know, sometimes people, they just can't translate from cooking at home to cooking for 30 people. So this is wonderful, it really is. I'm really pleased.
Any questions? The county home is requesting the board reclassify Rosemary Carver from part-time attendant number 1504-12, full-time cook number 1503, to be effective March 13, 2016, at a rate of $11.42 per hour. The probationary period will be extended until December 18, 2016.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
We're gonna terminate Ms. Porter, part-time attendant. She came to me from man camp, so, and when she became an employee, a full-time employee for us, that just some stuff surfaced that wasn't a good idea, so we terminated her.
And she was still within her probation, so.
Yeah, only 1 month.
That's how we're able to do that without having to
Yeah.
go through the process.
She's been here our employee for 1 month.
The county home is requesting the board approve the termination of Bobby Porter, part-time attendant number 1504-1 probationary employee to be effective March 4th, 2016.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
And the next one is just to refill the position.
The county home is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for the position of part-time attendant number 1504-1 third shift. This position will remain posted until filled.
Make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the Law Library Resources Board is requesting the board appoint Carol Tuttle to the Law Library Resources Board to fill the unexpired term of Holly Lynn ending December 31st, 2018.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
You gonna read this?
Yeah, I mean, this next action, I think we talked about this at the last meeting. Dale, having a four-person department with the departure of Ken Folsom's been down to a three-person department. Because of that, Dale hasn't been able to take the vacation he normally would to stay ahead of his 200-hour limit. So we're asking the board to temporarily suspend that limit to let his vacation accrual rise above 200 hours until we get the new employee hired and get him on board. So that's what this action is requesting you to do.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve the suspension of the 200-hour maximum vacation accrual for Director Dale Legend, Department of Emergency Services, until the open position is filled in accordance with the Geauga County Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual, Section 6, page 6.16, vacation leave to be effective March 27th, 2016.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Since I brought this up last time, I'll go ahead and bring this up this time. We have a deadline of this Friday to have applications in for the rural council. We had certain names that were already discussed last week: Kathy Cotman for planning, John Orles for conservation, Bob Rogers for ag, Mike Petruzzulo's name was submitted for trustee. I reached out to John Ferguson from Parkman to see if he might be interested, sensitive to Blake's concern about having a rural representation on the board. John, I know John pretty well, and Parkman is certainly rural, and they're doing a good job over in Parkman. They had some trustees that had some issues, stepped down, and so these guys took over in a rapidly, and they've done a nice job of turning things over. He has the right attitude toward Nowak and sitting on this council in terms of defending Geauga County rural values, and so I would submit his name for the trustee position, along with Mike, so.
I also did some research, asking some people in the county, and Jim Dvorak, who's in the audience and is a trustee from Burton Township, expressed some interest in the township position on that council as well. There's a number of people that I talked to on these various, of the four. The next one down was the conservation specialist, and I received interest from Keith McClintock, Ed Buckles, and Tracy Ingalls, who we appointed to the Planning Commission last week. I tried desperately to get in touch with David Short, who is on the Planning Commission and works for NOACA. ODOT. No, I'm sorry, I'm looking here at NOACA and saying, he works for ODOT, he's on our Planning Commission, his name's David Short. I have not reached him. He doesn't have a phone machine and I don't have a cell number for him. I called him all weekend and the phone just rings, so I don't know what that's about. I thought he might be an interesting person for the planning official. The negative on David Short, if there is a negative, is that he resides in Chesterland also, but he does have that ODOT component. Kevin O'Reilly Jr., who I don't think you can get more rural than he is, as I think his property line is the county line, heading toward either Trumbull, I think it's Trumbull on the other side. His farm is out there. I thought of him possibly as a replacement or another alternative for the ag position. And Rogish could, he has, I consider two expertises. One is in the agricultural industry, but he's also sits on the Soil and Water Board, which would give him some skills for the conservation specialist representative. And there's another Jeff Lechak, and he was interested in he was interested, I believe, in the township official position. All of these folks showed an interest in working on this. Again, to vet the extent of their expertise in one of these four areas over the other is, I'm not sure that I'm necessarily qualified to say that this guy's a better ag guy than that guy or whatever, but they have interest in those areas. So I don't know, where we go from here. Are we because we all know that NOACA is going to, they're going to look at whoever we send down and probably have some weigh in. I mean,
well, clearly NOACA, the board, the way that they currently have the wording configured, has a choice. And so this is our county. We have an opportunity to step up and represent our county to the best of our ability. And at least from my perspective, we need to put the best people that stand the best chance or the least opportunity for NOACA to have exception with them. John Oro's, as the conservation guy, he heads up 10,000 acres, oversees the conservation, preservation of 10,000 acres in our county. I don't think NOACA could possibly find fault with him. If they do, then there's clearly an issue with NOACA and their judgment, and we would have a recourse with that. Same thing with Bob Rogish. Bob Rogish works for Patterson Farms, a large farm, has his own farm, was on the Farm Bureau, was a trustee, or no, he wasn't a trustee, was he? No. He was a past president of the Agricultural Society, that's right. That's
and
what I was
Fair
thinking.
Board.
And so, I mean, he has got such breadth of experience that I can't think of too many people who you could say has a better credential relative to representing the agricultural area. And if NOACA finds fault with him, again, we have picked the very best person who has the widest experience relative to that ag area. In terms of planning, we have to have strong people on this committee. We cannot put people on this committee that are going to be progressive in their attitude. Everything you read coming out of NOACA says they're creating progressive plans. I can't speak to some of the people that you talk to, Blake, because I don't know them. I do know Kathy Cottman, and I know she would take a hardline stance on a conservative, rural set of values. And she's demonstrated in the Planning Commission and in Chesterland Township, on many occasions, her ability to, for critical thinking and be able to think through things, to do homework, to do all the work and stuff. So I still stand with her on that. I would probably opt for John Ferguson at this point over Mike Petruzzulo, even though Mike Petruzzulo has a demonstrated ability to be able to stand strong in the face of some of the nonsense that we're going to see out of NOACA. And this rural council, NOACA created it to give them their way so that they could get input and so forth to come back and circumvent other elected officials who are providing them with input. Jim, I don't have any issue with Jim, other than the fact that recently we were not invited to a water monitoring effort that was being put on.
That was
There's
open to
other
the public.
There's other things that were, yeah, but our name was brought up in that meeting, other things that were happening. The point being is, I've not seen Jim demonstrate, and I like Jim, but I've not seen him demonstrate the conservative credentials necessary to take a hardline stance on this committee. We need a demonstrated conservative rural council person. So I support John in that. I've seen him, I know who he is relative to that. He's got a good, strong, and he's a rural guy out in Parkman, Ohio. So I would put those guys forward and ask for a resolution to move that group forward. We don't need to, unless we've got it.
No, yeah, I was mentioning Ralph before session. I dropped the ball. I didn't call until yesterday. Tim Cloyd, who's been kind of our local guy that managed that watershed and all the property the city of Akron owns, is no longer with the city of Akron. But they promised to get back to me with somebody, and at least we'll have a contact and a name going forward, trying to engage somebody for this purpose or other purposes down the line.
By the way, there is something else that I've always been confused about this. If you look at their requirements or what they're planning on doing, Geauga County has 4 slots that they've defined. We didn't define those. I weighed in, I'm on a committee that talked about this rural council. I didn't like the idea, so I voted against the concept, generally speaking. But there were 4 seats selected for Geauga County, and then the group gets to pick 4 at-large representatives. The group being, which is a little fuzzy to me, I'm assuming the rural council group, but I'm not sure exactly what that is. Those 4 categories are outdoor recreation, real estate development, rural transportation, and community services. So some of these other names that have been presented, including Jim's, and I know Jim's a real estate agent, might be put forward. We have an opportunity to fill 4 at-large seats, or at least suggest 4 at-large people to them, to say, here's the 4 names that we'd like to submit for the 4 at-large people. And so there's more opportunity there should we want to put those forward. And I would be willing to consider some of the names that you brought up, Blake, relative to those 4 seats. Now, again, I don't know them, and I didn't hear a strong case from you that you talked to them, you got confirmation from them in the process other than Jim. I know he's filled out the form because he and I talked already coming before the meeting started. But I know the individuals that I talked to, I apologize, have committed to, in fact, we have forms for everybody but John, because I just talked to him yesterday. I sent him the form this morning, and so he has that form to fill out and respond or reply back with. So that's my take on all this. I mean, I don't know that we need to chase our tails too much on this. We probably need to make some recommendations, move forward, see what NOACA does, and then if it's positive, good. If not, then come up with a strategy to counteract that. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I would say, I would support you on that.
So do you want to change the township officials to John?
Yeah, let's, I mean, I'm throwing that on the table. Why don't I'm gonna ask for a motion for that slate of players, and if I can get a motion, we'll move that forward.
So we can read what I previously had with the change to Mr. Ferguson, and then go from there. Commissioner's office is requesting the board nominate Kathy Cottman as the planning official representative to the NOACA Rural Advisory Council. Commissioner's Office is requesting the board nominate John Ferguson as the township official representative to the NOACA Rural Advisory Council. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board nominate John Oros as the conservation specialist representative to the NOACA Rural Advisory Council. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board nominate Robert Rubish as the agricultural industry representative to the NOACA Rural Advisory Council.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
No.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. So we're gonna need to get all the forms together and then get those in by
And
Friday.
everything but John.
Okay. I just sent it to him this morning and we'll pass it out.
Yes, I have all of them from prior, the one I'm missing is John.
There's my credentials.
Okay, good.
How you doing?
And we do have
The
those,
application.
those other at-large seats if you have an interest in. Do you have an interest in those?
I'm always interested in serving Geauga County.
Okay, good. Oh, yeah, that was probably, all right, Mr. Buckles,
Sir,
you had a question, and for the record, would you state your name and where you live?
Ed Buckles, Troy Township. My question related to a meeting that you had, Mr. Claypool, with some representatives of the townships regarding the ongoing U.S. Geological Survey of water quality in Geauga County. It's been an ongoing survey for about 25 years to monitor the water resources and quality. And you indicated then that it might have been an oversight or a mistake not to responding to the U.S. Geologic Survey, and that you were looking into options to that survey. It was pointed out that for the survey to continue to be valid scientifically, it needed to be conducted at the same points by the same standards, et cetera, and that perhaps other options weren't available. My questions actually are several. Why the oversight? What are you doing to find other testing services? And what can be done to help the townships who are now willing to pay for this service, the approximate $35,000 in cost?
Well, first of all, a number of your facts were inaccurate, so let me correct the facts. This is not water quality monitoring, this is water level monitoring that we've been doing. We've been doing it for some 20 years now. The cost has been about $300,000, and we were questioning the value since we've established a pattern. When you do these sorts of studies, when they originally started this study, it was because there was a lot of development going on. This is the information that I got. And so there was some thought that perhaps this would impact the water levels in our aquifers. Well, we've got 20 years now worth of study that says, nah, not so much. We're pretty stable, the aquifers are pretty stable. If you look at the lay of the land in Geauga County and the water tables and so on and so forth, if you actually look at the map, you see a lot of surface water in those maps. That's indicating that you've got a strong water table, and it's proven out by the monitoring that we've done. There's a couple of areas that have demonstrated, and they've not determined what the cause was, that there's a little bit more drawdown than others over the middle field. And so, but based on the subject matter experts that I've talked to, that could be the wells. It isn't necessarily the aquifer. It could in fact be those wells, because wells tend to close up. You have to refract them, you have to do other things with them. And so it's reasonable to periodically ask questions. Is this a reasonable thing to continue to do with the tax dollars that we're asked to manage? And is there a change that would give us a better result? And so can we do water quality in addition to water level monitoring? That was the question that was asked. By the way, there is no, I just talked to Martha, I can never pronounce her last name.
Judlicki?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
I think it's Judlicki.
And I have to apologize to her if she ever gets this tape, because I always have a hard time with her name. In any case, I just got in talking. She confirmed a lot of what I just told you. And so what we've agreed to...
And she is, I'm sorry, I don't know.
She's the USGS representative that we work with. And so we've talked to the Department of Health. I've been talking to them. We didn't have a meeting. We've been discussing this on an ongoing basis. What's the right way to handle this going forward? As was brought up by P.J. Kavanaugh in the meeting that the trustees had, there's a ton of testing currently going on. So we're already paying for testing within Geauga County outside of this water level testing that we're doing. So Middlefield tests, Chardon tests, South Russell tests,
Burden test.
Burton tests. So there's a lot of activity going on in Geauga County. How much of that can we leverage? Do we need to over-test? Are we spending too much money on this activity? And so that's part of the question. So Jerry Morgan, who is our water resource director, is right now compiling a report that is going to show the water testing that's happening in Geauga County. And by the way, the EPA is also, and this was news to me, this is part of the reason you ask questions, is because when you ask questions, new stuff bubbles to the surface that you don't know anything about. Evidently, the EPA has got a test going on that we had no idea that was happening, which is part of a FEMA activity, and I have no idea what that's about. We just discovered that they're doing some sort of test, and we don't know what the purpose of that test happens to be. And so Jerry's putting together an assessment of all the water testing that's currently going on. We're going to meet with all interested parties, so the water resources, Dave Dietrich from planning, Martha's going to come up from Columbus, and we're going to sit down and take a look at what we got, and then the subject matter experts, and by the way, I invited in some trustees in that activity. Jim, you're welcome to come if you choose. And so
I
we're
wasn't
gonna
notified, so.
Pardon?
I wasn't notified.
Well, we don't have the meeting set up yet.
Oh.
And so what we agreed with Martha, and she and I talked a couple days ago, was that we were going to compile all the data and then sit down and take a look at what we've got and then make some reasonable judgments in terms of what we need to do to go forward. So for example, one idea was if we've got a sensitive area in Middlefield, perhaps we need to focus some testing there. Perhaps we can put some live monitors there. So they have to manually, physically go out and check the wells. Seriously. If I can see who's ringing my doorbell, I ought to be able to see what the level of my well is on a particular well in Geauga County. And so we've got enough technology today that we could actually maybe improve at less cost the monitoring activity. So what we're doing going forward is we've stepped back, taken a look at that. And by the way, the other two commissioners haven't been brought into speed. I've asked Dave to update them periodically. But there's no sense in everybody out there stirring the pot until we kind of get the data together. Once we've got enough data together, the subject matter experts have validated the data, then I'll bring everybody up to speed and we have to make some judgments, the three of us, in terms of what we want to do going forward. And then we'll make that determination, we'll put it on the table, and we'll go forward. And by the way, there is match dollars, according to Martha, still available if we wanted to go that route, if it was a decision was to do that. In addition to that is a fallacy to say that testing the same well gives you a better result or a more consistent result, because you have to ask the question, what are you testing for? If you're testing for an aquifer, the aquifer is not in one specific dot on the Geauga County map. The aquifer underlays the entire geographic area. And so there is, and this isn't coming from me, this is not me talking, I'm the puppet, other people are talking through me. This is one of the subject matter experts. It may be better to move the wells because you get a better reflection on what the overall aquifer is doing relative to what the aquifer is doing in that one specific pinprick. So that's part of the discussions that we've been having. And so thank you for asking the question. That gives me an opportunity to update everybody and where we are. So Jerry had said that he was going to complete that report last Friday. I'm going to check with him, see where he is. I know he's very, very busy. He's got a lot of stuff going on in the water department. And as soon as that report is complete, then we'll be setting up a discussion with interested parties, and we'll take a look at it. And then the other two commissioners will be brought up to speed completely, and we'll move forward. Any other question?
Is that discussion going to be an open meeting, or is it for the public, or is that invitation?
Probably not, only because we want to have a down and dirty discussion about things that are going on. When we, what's that?
Then it will not be with all three of you.
No, it won't be all three of us. So it's just the subject matter experts, and since I'm being kind of having the down and dirty conversations with everybody, it's probably going to be that group, just so we can, look at all the factors and discuss that. At the appropriate time, then it will be a public meeting, and we'll release all the information we've gathered and what our joint thoughts are on that whole thing. And as with anything, Bob Wyzak is not responsible to this org. I mean, he doesn't work for me. He is free to say anything he wants to. You can go talk to him and ask him his opinion on this. Dave, yeah, and he will share with you, trust me, openly and honestly. Bob is not a shy guy in any way stretch of the imagination. You can talk to Jerry Morgan anytime you want to. I don't have any problem with that. I don't, these guys do. So you are not restricted from going and talking to anybody if you would choose to go talk to people. We're not trying to hide anything here. We're just trying to get to the best answer and utilize the taxpayers' dollars in the best way and not just throw money at it and, expecting false security. You know, doing this water level testing gave us a false sense of security possibly. And it's worthwhile to ask the question, is water level really what we're after? We've got 20 years experience, water levels aren't changing, we put a lot of development in. You know, spending that money, there's some question, should we do that? If we're gonna do that, is there a better way? So that was the reason for the question. I think it's a very reasonable thing to do.
Thank you.
Permission to speak?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Great.
And Jim, state your name, because we have to do that.
Jim DeVore, Burton Township trustee, and president of the Geauga County Township Association. According to USGS, Geauga County checks their wells for quality about every 10 years. Last time it was checked was in '09. The county paid like 70, it's 2/3 from the county, 1/3 from USGS on their grants. I think the county paid $78,000 for that. So, in '09, you know, if it's gonna be done every 10 years, we're talking about 2019. You know, I mean, is it, you know, with the study and us all working together, we'll see if this is gonna be done again or not.
Well,
16 out of the 34 wells were checked for quality at that time, in '09.
We have a lot of water quality checking going on right now in Geauga County. We don't need for the USGS to come in and check for water quality. Our cities and our villages are required by law to check for quality, and they do that on an ongoing basis.
Right.
You know, because you're a real estate agent. We have water quality tests come through our water department every day. People who are buying homes have water quality tests. We got a lot of water quality testing. I'm not sure we need to pay for another water quality test. That was one of the questions. Do we need to pay again? But we're doing water quality testing ongoing, continuously. And what are we testing for? Are we testing for heavy metals? Are we testing for pesticides? Are we testing for E. coli, bacteria? I mean, what is it that we're testing for? So
What I'm expressing is we have some time before the 10-year mark to see if we want this done or not.
Yeah, sure. No, that's exactly where we're going. It's a very good question, and I think it's a reasonable thing to ask, and I think we.
And out of the 34 wells, 2 of them are in South Russell, and they've been paying the bill right along.
They're paying the bill for.
They're paying the bill for the 2 wells to be checked on their own, South
Good for
Russell.
them.
And the one well in Auburn, it's very close to Ladue Reservoir, that's federally funded, and that's gonna be checked without Geauga County taxpayers' money. So that's, I heard that, I have documentation on that 2 weeks ago.
Good.
Just a little update
Thank you.
on the water wells and USGS.
Thank you. Any other questions, Mr. Buckles?
No, thank you.
And you had handed in this.
Just for information,
Just for
in case you're
information?
interested in coming.
I'll give you my copy, and I'll give these to you.
I think I have one already. Can we bring that out?
They were on the table, I don't know if you have it or not.
Yeah, I thought I had.
Okay, so we're on item 15.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board schedule a work session on Tuesday, March 29, 2016, at 11 o'clock a.m. with CCAO and Palmer Energy to discuss solar and energy program.
I'll make that motion.
Here.
I was gonna, yeah, that was
It's
my
here
question,
in
not
our-
discussion.
No, it's here.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
I've got a question. Do we need to do this? Could we just set up a session without a resolution?
No, we have to do it publicly to then advertise it in order to schedule a work session,
Okay.
because it's all three.
Yeah, we set up meetings all the time, though, without.
This is not a regular meeting, this is a work session. So it's not in this format, it's informal with them coming in to talk about some specific topic. So it's specific to that topic, no other business will take care of it at that time.
Okay, very good, thanks.
Okay. Commissioner's office is requesting the board move into executive session for the purpose of discussing the discipline of a public employee in the Department of Job and Family Services.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Okay, Gina Schultz, Fred Swenson, yourself.
Us and the three
Yeah.
are in there.
Yep.
Will there be action when we come back?
I believe so.
We let the record show we entered back in it.
10:01.
Whatever, well, yeah,
10:01.
10:01 is close, yeah.
The Department of Job and Family Services is requesting the board accept the disciplinary recommendation of the Director of Job and Family Services to suspend Matt Sebron, Social Services Supervisor 1, for 8 hours, 1 working day without pay for violation of Section 3 of the Geauga County Job and Family Services Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual for unsatisfactory job performance, non-completion of assigned duties, neglect of duty, and non-feasance. And further approve and execute the order of removal, reduction, suspension, and voluntary disciplinary separation form per ORC 124.34 for 8 hours of working day.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
So did you do any scuba diving or snorkeling? or
Yes.
anything? I've been scuba diving in about 5 years now. I'm getting anxious.
So just one copy?
Yes.
You got a chance to go on a private dive down in Puerto Rico. There's a Hilton hotel with a water pool that feeds the ocean, and so you get to swim out underneath the crashing surf. And it's just amazing down below just below the surf, what
And that
happens.
goes back to.
This goes back to them.
Yep. Correct.
All right, I didn't know if we were gonna make a copy of it or.
Copy and send it back to
I
you.
would stop and see Linda before you leave.
Okay.
She may-
We'll do. Yep.
Thank
Bye-bye
you.
now.
Yeah, have a
Take
nice
care.
day.
The Commissioner's-
Enjoy the weather.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board move into executive session for the purpose of considering the employment of a public employee at the Department of Emergency Services.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Okay, we'll have Roger Peterson, Dale Wedge, and one at a time. We have 2 candidates, one at a time, they will be coming in, so we'll turn off the recording. Okay, we're recording. 11:10.
11:10, we came back into session.
No action.
No action?
I moved to adjourn.
So moved.